Welcome to Dad Life.
Welcome to Dad Life, everyone. The podcast where we talk about what it really is to be a father, a husband, as well as a provider. My name is Chris, and I'm going to be your host. And throughout this podcast, you're going to hear a lot of conversations regarding fatherhood, marriage, and day to day struggles that us men deal with that don't really talk about it much. So, whether you are going to be a new dad, a seasoned dad, a husband, or a man that's simply trying to make a better life for his family, you're in the right place. We're going to talk about the victories that need to be celebrated as a man, the lessons that we learn, as well as the challenges that we deal with on a day to day basis that helps us keep us grounded and saying, hey, you're going to be okay. You're still growing as a father, as a husband, as well as a provider. So, thank you so much for joining me. This is Dad Life. Let's get into today's episode. From the time that I took my first episode to now, a lot has happened. And a lot has personally happened to me, which is an amazing thing. And I want to talk about it on today's episode. So today's episode is not going to have any special guests. It's just going to be me and you. Let's recap on the first episode. The first episode was of me and my father as my special guest because we were having a Father's Day special. And it was a really cool thing to know and find out that my dad has been through a lot that he has never told me about, and he's dealt with a lot of things, and he still does, as still being a dad to me, my siblings, his family members, and it was actually very very unique. So it was really cool. Cheers to you, Dad. Thank you so much for sharing me those memories as well as those thoughts. I'll always cherish them. But let's get back to what happened in between that time and now. 4th of July weekend passed a few weeks ago, and so did my wife's birthday. They're kind of 2 days in between, so therefore we celebrate together. As a father and as a provider, I have to set up twice as hard because not only do I gotta have to worry about whether my wife is gonna have a great time, but also my guests, my kids, getting fireworks, getting the backyard ready, getting the front yard ready, getting the whole house ready. It's a job within itself. I come from having two jobs, working 12 to 16 hours a day, and not really having time to myself. So essentially, the week that I have for 4th of July is not really a vacation. It's more so still a third job. But it's all okay for me because honestly, as long as my kids are happy, my wife is happy, I'm sipping on some good things, everything's okay. But in between those times, not only were we watching the World Cup, but we had real cool conversations because I like to give all my family members a little alcohol because truth happens with a little alcohol inside your system. I kid you not. So we had great conversations that brought me to this place to where I wanted to have a one-on-one with you guys this episode. One of the biggest topics that hit us was that now that I am a new father to a daughter, because essentially my two boys are the oldest, and I thought I was going to be a boy dad, but this beautiful princess came to our lives 4 months ago, and my wife's family had asked, "Has anything changed?" And I honestly thought about it for about a good 20 seconds, and I said, "Yes." They said, "How so?" I said, "Well, in my opinion, my boys are insane. They go crazy. They're nonstop. But then I see my 4 month old super chill, super chill. At 4 months old, my boys had all kinds of problems with being not being able to put themselves to sleep. I had to carry them. Me and my wife had to carry them. But my daughter is completely different, which is an amazing thing. But also, I said, she's already talking. At 4 months old, she's blah, 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 blah. I can't even get my 3 year old to talk yet, let alone my 4 month old is blabbering. That's insane. She's so intelligent. It's honestly changed my thought process on, you know, every child is almost at the same path. So all those books that I've thought about reading, thank God I didn't buy them because all those little footnotes of, oh, this is where your child should be at. This is where your child should be at this stage. I think it's all gone out the window because my daughter is 4 months old and she's already chirping. She's rolling around and she is nonstop, which is amazing. So that is a dad proud moment that a victory has been celebrated as one of my examples of victories to be celebrated. Another topic that came up about me being a girl dad was when she comes of age, and I'm talking about 5, 6 years old, where am I going to take her to the restroom? Will I go to a men's restroom or will I go to a women's restroom when there is no family restroom to be done? And essentially, I had said, men's, duh, I'm not a girl. But then the moms and my aunts, they all had a good thing. Women's restrooms have stalls that are covered. Men's restrooms don't. They just got urinals. I said, yeah, well, yeah, duh. We don't squat when we pee. But what they brought up, which kind of gave me a nice little insight, was women are more sus- I don't know how to say it. Women are more capable of understanding when a man is gonna knock on the door and say, "Hey, is anyone around? I am a father. I have my daughter here, and is it okay if I walk in?" Obviously, if you don't get no answer, go for it. That's what they said, right? There was a TikTok that went viral about a father that took his daughter to the women's restroom, and people were going back and forth on him, and that's what brought on the topic essentially. And so I was going back and forth with them because I can see it both ways. I don't want my daughter to be, in the environment of what if a guy that's nasty that has no no I mean I don't know how to say it. No respect, I guess you could say, or no etiquette and just, turn around with his thing out and I don't want my daughter to see it. But then again, you get those moms that might be Karens nowadays, and they see a dad and they're gonna be like, "What the heck? Why are you in a girl's restroom? You're a pervert." So that's my question for you guys: is where would you take your daughter to the restroom if there is no family restroom available? Are you guys? Are you taking them to the girls' bathroom or to the boys' bathroom? That's a question that I want everyone to answer. It was a really good question because it's still till this day up in my head, and I keep going back and forth on the answers. So please help me out. Let's talk about it. I'll post up a nice little post to see what everyone thinks about it. The second topic that came across this entire month that I've been here in hiatus was some of the topics that I also wanted to touch on regarding fatherhood. To roll back onto the fatherhood aspect is when I was talking to a lot of my older uh, uncles, they were very adamant to tell me that they never changed their daughter's diapers. And it got me thinking, like, why? Were you guys just being lazy? Were you guys trying to be machismo to where that's the wife's duties? And they just said no. I just during those times it wasn't a man's job, and I'm like, well, that's crazy because I change my daughter's diapers all the time. But their thought process was, like that's not that's not right. I'm like, why not? It's my daughter. So what are you guys' thought process? Do you dads change your daughter's diapers, or do you just keep it to that's the mom's thing because of whatever the lady parts? I honestly feel like that's your daughter. You want to keep her clean. Why not? You know, you're gonna have her out and about on father daughter dates, so you're not gonna keep her dirty until you get home. So why not change her when you're at home? Let's talk about that one. Let's put a pin on that one. I want to go back to that one in another episode when I have a special guest to me. Essentially, this month has been crazy for me just because it was 4th of July plus my wife's birthday. It's also was my little sister's birthday. So shout outs to both my wife as well as my sister for birthdays. We had a lot of celebrations. For the July is actually a really busy month for me, uh, family wise, not so much work wise. So it's been a struggle to mentally for me to be able to understand that money is going to be a little tight. But as a provider, I don't really talk about it much with my wife because I don't want her to worry about what's going on, right? She's a stay-at-home mom. The last thing I need her to do is worry about what bills are going to get paid or if they're going to get paid. But that's a struggle that I face during summertime, and that's I feel like that's in all hospitality, in all of hospitality industry. Dads that are hospitality dads or in the hospitality industry, how do you feel? Do you guys save up for these types of months that are slower than most? Uh, or do you guys just, ride the waves? That's another question that I want to put a poll on. Um, because for me, I honestly ride the wave personally just because it's summertime. I don't want to have my kids constantly say, "Daddy, where you at? Daddy, why are you going to work so much?" That's one thing I don't want. I want my kids to know that I am here, that I am physically here, mentally here, and capable of taking them places such as just random regular places, the pool, the park, the jungle gyms, all that stuff. I'm gonna take my kids out to California to see their cousins on a little mini vacation. It's not much. I'm not taking them to Disneyland. I'm not taking them to Legoland every week, but it's something that I want that my kids are going to appreciate, and all that I can't do if I'm constantly working. So I take the time off that I can, especially during the slow months, because not only do I want them to know that I'm present, but it allows me to kind of reboot, you know. This past month, even though it's been slow, mentally on me, it's been great. I've been able to spend so much time with my family that it's allowed my kids to realize that their dad is going to be present and their dad is always present. And I actually got a little carried away there because my son, my oldest Eli, I kind of given him the world already. He's quite spoiled. I'm not gonna lie. I've spoiled the crap out of my kids, especially Eli. And a moment we had the other day, we were at the pool with his cousins. We had night swimming, and he has the goggles, he has the whole nine. He has toys, he has whatever he wants. But his cousin had the same type of goggles, just a different color, and he goes, "I don't like these no more. Daddy, you buy me those ones, please. Like right now, I want those. Have her give them to me, to her cousin." And for me, that hurt me personally because I work hard for those. Even though those are $4 or $5, that's my hard-earned money. So it kind of got me upset. And I grabbed his goggles and I said, "You don't like these no more because they're a different color?" He goes, "Yes, give me those ones." I took those goggles and I threw them away. He got so upset. He started crying, bawling. "Why'd you do that? Why'd you do that?" And like I saw my wife look at me and I was like, "Don't do it. Don't do it." And my mother-in-law says something. "Why'd you do that? We have his goggles right here. We have other goggles here." I was like, "That's not the point." I told her that's not the point. The point is that I work hard for the money that I get, and what I get is what I give to them. And he needs to learn that just because I give him whatever he wants at the moment doesn't mean that I can't take that away like in an instant. And my wife understood it right away, and she realized that right away, and it was really cool to see that my wife had my back on that, and she kind of broke it down to my son. Thankfully the trash can was clean because I didn't even know, I just threw them. But the trash can was cleaned, and she said there was nothing in there, so she just picked them up and she kind of gave him a nice little water bath, and she gave it back after she kind of sat him down and was like, listen, you can't be doing that. You should be thankful for what you have, not for what you don't have. And he kind of understood. Obviously, he's not gonna overly understand because he's 5 years old, but I got to teach him young, especially him, because I spoil the crap out of him. That man, that little kid has everything that he wants, that he could ever have thought of, and he gets it. He's such a great kid, and I'll always have his back. But it was something that hurt me personally because that made me realize that my dad worked two jobs, just to provide for the family. But any other cent that he had, my dad doesn't wear Jordans like that no more. My dad never wore the high end clothes. He wore sweats. He wore beat up shoes. Just because he wanted to give his kids the better things. I was always in the brand new Jordans. I was always in the Nike outfits, the Adidas outfits, and my dad was in just sweatpants and a shirt that was still dirty from him changing the oil. And and it made me realize how much I had that I never appreciated, or at least to my father, and it hurt. So I understand what my dad was going through when I would always leave my bat or my glove hanging, or my toys everywhere, and he said what I said essentially was, I work hard for this, and you're just gonna mistreat it like if it's nothing. So like my wife and I had a nice little one-on-one with my son, and my son obviously said, "I'm sorry." So it was really cool. But that's something that you know, as a father, I don't have the patience for, but my wife does. So that's something that a lesson that I need to be learning is on how to be more patient and understand that. Listen, just because he's 5 doesn't mean that he's gonna understand things right away, but he is very smart. So it's really cool. Um, Another thing that happened throughout this month is I have became a new coach. I coach my son's basketball league. It's really cool. It is definitely something that has taught me patience. You know, for all those that aren't religious, I do apologize, but for those that are religious, when you pray for something, God gives you something in return for you to become that best way, right? So I've prayed for patience on how to be more patient with my child. And sure enough, what does he do? Makes me the basketball coach of his team. I'm coaching 5 and 6 year olds, and the patience is not there, but it's building. I'm learning. It's a challenge. It's definitely a challenge, but it's kept me in cool with my son. But yes, it's amazing, to go through this journey with my kid. It's the first time I've ever coached, and thankfully it's a sport that I actually love and I enjoy, basketball. But teaching 5 and 6 year olds how to dribble, and telling them and having to tell them as to why we're consistently every practice learning the dribbling, and redoing the same thing over and over again. Meanwhile, they're saying, why can't we just shoot? Why can't we just shoot? Well, got to learn how to dribble first. You can't run without learning how to walk, and you can't walk without learning how to crawl. So it's something that has been a challenge to me, because there are some kids that need a little bit more extra love. My son is one of them, and there's some kids that are all stars. Like I have a kid that is quite literally possibly our MVP. Um, but I can't keep him on that pedestal because I don't want him to get too big headed, because he's only 5. Matter of fact, he's 6. He's one of the oldest, but man, this kid can ball. I tried to sub him out the first game, and my wife and my sister-in-law said, let's try and keep this particular kid in the longest because he's the only one that can make baskets. I'm like, well, essentially, what about Eli? Because Eli can't score worth a damn, but he can dribble and he could pass and he could defend. They're like, yeah, but let's try to keep them together. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to rotate everybody. This is a league where I have to rotate everyone. It's not like I can pick and choose who plays. Everyone has to play. And I'm trying to make sure everyone gets the same amount of time. But man, this kid can ball, and I hope that if I stick to it, he wants to stick to with me as a coach, and I hope my son enjoys basketball. One of the greatest pleasures that I ever got from coaching, at least this season so far, was after the very first game. My son hugged me and he said, "Thank you, Dad. You are the best coach ever. Thank you. I love you." I almost wanted to cry right there and then on the spot, but it made everything feel worth it. I work 5, 6 days a week. And on the days off, I really don't have any days off because I'm trying to make sure I have time with them. And one of those days that I have off is basketball practice. And to know that this kid is learning from me a sport that I love and he appreciates it was very heartwarming and well felt. It was amazing. Um yeah, a lot that I just talked about is mainly the main things that I wanted to talk about with you guys. Let me know what you guys think. I will be posting up polls regarding those things that we spoke on. If you are a dad that can relate to anything that I touched on today in this episode, or if there's anything that you want to be expressed on future episodes, please shoot me a DM. I'm on Spotify. I'm on IG. I'm on TikTok. I'm on YouTube. Uh, Facebook is under construction and underway shortly, hopefully. But please DM me. Send me a message. Um, Follow, like, share, comment, and let me know what you guys want to hear about next. Hopefully, I have another special guest coming in next episode, and we get his little input or outlook on his fatherhood, his marriage, his day to day life experiences or his challenges. And I hope you guys really enjoy it. Thank you so much for tuning in, and till next time, salute.